In this episode of Moi TV, I'm sharing some tips and recommendations about using your phone for DIY headshots photography versus using a professional like me with a pro level camera. You should definitely think about subscribing to Moi TV if you want to go about making sure that your personal brand and your business looks better online. Don't forget, if you hit the bell when you subscribe, we're going to make sure that you're notified every single Friday when a new episode comes out. If you've always wondered what a professional photographer really thinks about you doing headshots of yourself using your camera phone compared to working with them and their much more superior equipment, then this is the episode for you. Maybe you had a photo shoot planned in the not too distant future with a professional, and the current COVID-19 crisis has you completely at sixes and sevens. Fear not, I've got you covered. Let's take care of you remotely online. If you don't know me yet, hello, I'm Pearman. I've had my own professional photography business for 8 years now, and prior to that I had a little bit of a career in marketing and public relations. I've proven this hybrid approach that I have to doing personal branding photography with lots of different clients, whether it be with headshots or even with selfies too. Now this is quite a classical debate. It's something that I find myself talking about a lot when I'm at conferences or even when I'm in Facebook groups networking with people, and I've managed to sum up all of those conversations into 6 really important points for you today. So let's go. Number 1 is quality. Obviously, quality is at the forefront of everyone's mind when they're thinking about doing a DIY selfie approach to their headshot instead of working with a professional photographer. For right now, most of the smartphones on the market, the ones that people tend to have now, produce large enough image file size to make sure that the quality of image is pretty good. However, there are certain restrictions that you need to bear in mind when you're thinking about taking this approach to photography for you and your business. The main thing that I want you to remember is that it's not a good idea to use phonography, that's photos taken with your phone, to create things like packaging or using in a print scenario. So that has a variety of different options, especially in business photography. And another thing that you want to try and bear in mind is that it's much harder, therefore, to edit and do post-production on phone photography images, purely because of the quality and the resolution of the image file size. However, if you're looking for something to use online, maybe your website or across on social media, phone photography is actually quite a good option. Number 2, the jack of all trades is the master of none. Developing a shoot flow that fills you with confidence and energy and excitement about who you are in your business is a skill that a photographer can only develop when they've migrated from student graduate level into a true professional. Knowing how to speak to people in the right way to get the maximum results from them is something that you just pick up when you're working as a professional photographer. It's not something that you're really taught in college. And it's this bit that can take the DIY phone photography approach into a massive family argument quite rapidly. I don't want that to happen for you. So if you're planning on getting someone at home to help you out with some DIY phone photography that you can use in your business, make sure that you make a real point of sitting down before you enter into a photo shoot scenario with this person and just stress to them that it's really important that they focus on being gentle with their words and coming from a genuine place of encouragement with you throughout the photo shoot process. And you should take responsibility to just check yourself before you go into this model mode of going in with a very open mind and try to put on an extra thick skin before you go into that dynamic. There's a very strong chance that the person who's taking your picture is not going to know how to coax you and encourage you in a way that a professional photographer could. So you have to just try and go in there with the right mindset to begin with. I promise you that if you both do this as much as you possibly can within this relationship dynamic, it's going to massively reduce the risk of a full-scale argument. Again, orchestrating a full team or photo shoot crew is a skill that only some photographers enjoy to develop and hone over the years of making lots of mistakes and building up experience. There are lots of photographers who are professional, but they prefer to work solo because they don't like working in this managerial director capacity. I'm guessing that if you're in self-isolation mode, there's a good chance that your hair and makeup department might be delegated to somebody else in your family, or maybe even your pets, and you're going to be asking for the support of maybe your cat or dog to help you out in the photo shoot process. Give everyone involved a really clear job to follow and a role to play in this photo shoot at home. Try to make it as fun as you possibly can, and make sure that everyone is working with a common incentive in mind that could involve some kind of a treat or a way to celebrate when the photo shoot is over successfully at the end. When to press the shutter and what angle to use on a camera of any kind, whether it be a professional level camera, DSLR, or whether it be a phone camera, is again something that you can build up and learn over years and years of experience as a professional. Instead, I want you to try and boil this down into a couple of easy to remember points. I want you to try and experiment with lower angles using your phone and just take a look at what that looks like in the results. By lower, I mean crouch down physically with your body and hold the phone at a lower angle. And please avoid the overhead angle like this. It's done to death and nobody appreciates it anymore, especially me. Number 3, cropping and position. Try and get out of the selfie crop mode that you're preconditioned to use when you open the camera app on your phone. Play around with scale and play around with backgrounds. Think about poses that convey the mood that you want your business to be perceived in right now. What do you bring to the world and how does that feel? Maybe you help people with meditation and yoga, or you're a PT and you're all about creating a sense of relaxation. And think about what poses convey the idea of relaxation and zen. Maybe your special USP is determination and focus. I want you to think about determination and focus as you're posing in front of the camera phone. Number 4, lighting and precise narrative. Honing light to make sure that you can explain a sense of narrative in your photography is something that we pros are constantly striving to achieve. This is definitely something that you can try and play around with when you're using your camera phone too. A great way to begin with natural light is to figure out where your house faces. What direction is your house pointing in? This is going to give you a rough idea of where the sun rises and sets around your home, and which rooms are going to be light and which rooms are going to be shady and at what time. You should probably know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Here's a screenshot from the Compass app on my phone, and you can see that my house faces 303 degrees northwest west. This means that the rooms in the back of my house and my back garden are really bright and airy in the morning as the sun is coming up, and then in the evening I get lovely sunset light on all of the rooms at the front of my house. Like I said, this is a free Compass app. I'll put a link to it in the show notes for you, and it's really easy to use. You just open it up and point your phone in the same direction that the front of your house faces. In order to understand sunrise and sunset, I would strongly recommend you look for a local weather app. This gives you exact details of when you can expect the sun to rise and the sun to set, so you can plan when you're going to do your photography to capture either one of those moods of lighting. Number 5 is space. Thinking about space in the crop of a photograph when you're using your camera phone is crucial in making sure that you create quick photography in a DIY way that is much more usable for your website and also for your social media posts. This is what's going to help you if you're in a bit of a photography bind right now. The easiest way to understand this is by doing. So this is what I mean. Take a photograph of yourself 1 pace away from your phone, then step 3 paces away from your phone and take the same photograph again, then 10 paces, and then 20 paces. That's right, I'm assuming you either have a really long back garden or you've made sure that you've gone to a place that has 20 paces space in it and you're being very responsible by maintaining your self-isolation and keeping 2 meters away from anybody else in the public around you in that location. Number 6 is editing. I have a working flow that I use with all of my phone photography, and it's all on my phone. So I use different apps to edit my pictures, and I do it the exact same way every single time so that all of my photography is consistent. I love to use Lightroom. It's something I've been using on desktop for years now, but it is genuinely pretty easy to use if you're a novice. Then sometimes, if needed, I'll stick the image that's from Lightroom into Facetune 2 and do tiny little subtle changes to make myself feel better about the way that I look in the photo. Precise details on exactly how I edit my workflow is in my free Love Your Selfie challenge. You can find out so much more about exactly what I do to make my images look as professional as possible when I'm using my camera phone by signing up for this free 5-day challenge. I'll put a link to that in the show notes so you can go and get registered. Don't forget to give me a quick thumbs up if you've enjoyed this episode of Moi TV. If you've enjoyed learning about DIY phone photography today with me on Moi TV, then you're probably going to enjoy this episode as well. This is all about my headshots do's and my headshots don'ts. Take a look by clicking here right now. See you next time. Mwah. Now before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.